I'm getting ready to start the roof of the chicken coop. And so I have to come over here and double check my measurements. So I know that my coop is built to be 4 feet by 4 feet. I already know because of how I designed the pitch that I have enough roofing lengthwise, but now I need to make sure that I build an appropriate substructure for the width. 4 feet would be 3 sheets across, but I like a nice eave, so I'm gonna go ahead and plan for 4 sheets across, and that gives me 64 inches. So what that means is that my purlins have to be 61 inches so that I can then come along and put my side pieces on to the tune of 1.5 inches a piece. And the entire substructure will be 64 inches, which will cause my 4 sheets of roofing to land perfectly. All right, I have my boards marked for 61 inches, and now I'm gonna cut them, and I'm starting with 4 because 4 might do it. You know, I could do the math, but I'm gonna start with 4. I'm gonna set them up there. I'm gonna see how I like it. And I have one of my purlins secured onto the next purlin, which I'm actually going to do that bottom one, and then I'm going to fill in the middle and see how I like the look of the spacing. Okay, a word about measurement here. So we know that this board is 61 inches long. We also know that the coop structure is 48 inches or 4 feet wide. I want to split the difference evenly, and I also need my difference marker to land with this board in mind, because that's what I'm going to secure the purlin to. So it just so happens that 48 plus 3, which is one of these on each side, is 51. The difference between 51 inches and 61 inches is, of course, 10 inches. Divide that by 2, which means I need 5 inches of overhang on both sides, and it'll be even. So that's what I've done. I gave myself a little mark here to go off of, and then I know that this is what I need to secure the board to. So then I pre-drilled my screws. Let's see if I can zoom in on that one over there. And that makes life really easy when I'm over here securing things together, because all I have to do is take my trusty little impact here and finish the job in one shot. On this bottom one, I actually have to notch this purlin on the back side in order to accommodate the latches. And so you can see I'm marking where I'm going to notch it out, and I'm just going to take a triangular bite out of it with my circular saw. So many shapes. And that will allow the bolt to slide up no problem. And it'll clear the roofing too, because it doesn't go very far up. So, are these the prettiest notches in the world? Absolutely not. Will anyone ever see them? Absolutely not. So, with simple tools, I was able to accomplish functionally what I needed to accomplish. And I've got 2 of my 4 purlins set. I'm gonna go along and set the ones in the middle, see if I like the spacing, and if I need to add a third. This is a mock-up of what the purlins will look like. Clearly, we are not secured to anything or anything like that. On average, these are about 15 inches edge to edge, and that is going to be perfectly sufficient. For reference, the woodshed has purlins which are spaced about 15 inches as well. My purlins are officially set, and what I did was measure from end to end, put a mark, and then I wanted to use that same measurement end to end, so I added 3.5 inches to accommodate the 2x4, made another mark, and then that led me to the end. So they are reasonably evenly spaced and going to provide adequate support for my roofing material. I'm about to cut my boards that'll cover these milled ends on both sides. And I wanted to take a minute and discuss salvage lumber conservation so that you don't have to spend twice as much money on your lumber. So I have these 3 boards. Now, that distance that I need the boards to span is 60 inches. I could use both of these shorter boards, but this one longer board is like 126 inches long. 60 inches times 2 is 120. So I think what I'm going to do is actually cut both 60-inch spans out of that one longer board, which will only leave me with a couple of inches waste. Whereas if I were going to use both of the shorter boards, I would have probably like 2.5 feet of waste out of each board. When you do that, it's very important that you measure your first length, cut it, and then measure your second length, because you will actually get quite a bit of dead distance, span, the words are escaping me, just by virtue of your saw blade. So I have cut the first 60-inch span out of this. Now I double checked my measurement, and I am going to take my second 60-inch span out of this one long board. Ta-da! My substructure is complete. Now normally you would come along and you would put boards across here to protect these milled ends, and also at the top. I'm actually not going to do that in this case. Come at me if you will, but I'm not. My roofing isn't quite long enough to accommodate those type of eaves, because it would add 3 inches to the overall length. On this back side, I actually need this room here to access these latches for the nest boxes. Next up is actually putting the roofing on.